Hi all, welcome to Learn Code Repeat. So today we'll be looking at day 10 of the October Lead Code Challenge. The name of the problem is minimum number of arrows to burst balloons. Let's look into the problem. So I'll summarize the question for you. If you want to read the question, you can pause the video here and read the question. So the question says that we have balloons that moves in the x-axis. So if this is my balloon, it moves here in x-axis this way, and we have multiple balloons that moves around the x-axis. So let's say the movement is like this. So this is one balloon, this may be the second balloon, this may be the third balloon, right? And also we have arrows. Let's say we are somewhere down here and we can hit the arrow from here, and the arrow moves along the y-axis and it can move infinitely along the y-axis. So we have to check the minimum number of arrows that are required to burst all the balloons. So here if you see, these two balloons are overlapping at this point, right? So we can shoot the arrow from here so that we can hit both the balloons. So we will need one arrow here, and then if these both balloons are hit, then the only remaining balloon is this. So for this we will need one more arrow, right? So that way we need two arrows. So that is a problem statement. We have to find out minimum number of arrows that are required given the range of the balloons. Okay, so let's look into the example here. So this is the example that is given here. So here the range is 10 to 16. So let me plot that. From 10 to 16 the balloon will move, then 2 to 8. So from 2 till 8 the another balloon will move, then 1 to 6. 1 to 6 is the movement for the third balloon, and then 7 to 12. 7 to 12 is the movement for the fourth balloon, right? Now if you see here, I can use one arrow to burst these two balloons. Okay, I can use an arrow from here, and then I can use an arrow from here to burst these two balloons, right? So the output will be two arrows. That's what we need, right? Now the reason why we are able to do this is because we are able to visualize this as an interval, right? Now this problem, if you have seen my other videos, it is same as the other interval problem that we solved a couple of days ago. You can find the link somewhere above or down in the description below. So we will use the same method that we used in our earlier problem to solve this. So here we are able to solve this because the ranges are sorted. So that's why we are able to visualize and know where the range is overlapping. Okay. So if we sort it by the n index, we can write that here this particular will be the first point, right? Because this is the lowest n index, right? So this will be 1 comma 6. So this is my first n index. Then it will be 2 comma 8. That is my second n index, which is lowest. Then it will be 7 comma 12, and at the end it will be 10 comma 16. Okay, this will be my sorted order if I sort by the n index, right? Now once I get the sorted order, right, then I just need to check whether my current and the previous range is overlapping. Okay, and how can I check the overlapping? So let's say 1 comma 6, right? So this is my first index, right? The second is 2 comma 8, right? 2 comma 8 is this one, right? This is my second, right? So I just need to check that my second, let's say my previous is this, right? Let me call it P, and C is the current pointer is this. So I just need to check whether my current pointer's start index is less than or equal to my previous pointer's n index. If that is the case, then it's overlapping, and then for both the overlapping ranges we just need one arrow, right? So we can continue with the next current pointer. So I can increment my current pointer to next range, right, and keep the previous pointer as is. Now here again I will check. So this 7 comma 12 is this one. So this is my third and this is my fourth, right? So third here it is, right? So my previous is still at 1, right? Now these two are not overlapping. So in that case I will need a new arrow here. So my arrow counter will increment, and also my previous will point to this current one. Okay, and then I will increment my current again check with the next one. here these two are overlapping because my start index of the current one is less than or equal to end index of the previous one. So, it is overlapping. In that case I will not increment the counter. So, at the end my counter will be only 2, okay, which is the same output that we are expecting. So, it is a very easy problem once you understand how to visualize and sort this problem. Most of the interval problems tries to visualize that and then see what should be the sort order. So, whether we should be sorting by start or whether we should be sorting by end. So, in this case we are sorting by end and it becomes very easy problem to solve. So, let us code this problem. So, here the constraints that is given is points dot length is greater than or equal to 0. So, it can be 0. So, we have to take care of that condition here. So, if my points dot length equal to 0, in that case I do not need any arrow. So, I can return 0. Now, I need one counter to count the number of arrows. Initially it will point to the first index or first range of the point. So, I am initializing the count as 1 because we will need at least one arrow now. I also need a pointer to point to the previous index. Let me call it as previous index, which will be 0th index first initially. Now, I need a for loop. My for loop will start with the first index because previous index is pointing to 0th index. So, I is my current index. So, I will point to 1 first, I is less than points dot length. Now, in the for loop I just need to check whether it is overlapping, right. So, what was the condition for overlapping? So, the condition for overlapping was if this is my previous and this is my current, right. So, my current start index is less than or equal to my previous end index, that means it is overlapping, right. So, let us write that down here. My points of current is I, right, I of start index is 0. So, I of 0 is less than or equal to my previous, right. So, previous is previous index and previous index end index, right. So, it should be end index 1. If it is less than or equal to that, then that means it is overlapping. So, we can continue, we can use the same arrow which was there, else we need to have a new arrow. So, I am incrementing my counter and also my previous index should now point to current index. Okay. So, that is the simple logic here, and at the start I missed this sorting part. So, let us sort that as well. Arrays dot sort points and we need to sort by n index. So, I will do a comma b. Now, normally when you do sorting you normally do this way. If I am sorting by n index, we do a1 minus b1. This is also a way of sorting. So, this will give me negative number if it is less than a1 is less than b1, if it will give me 0, if it is same as b1 it will give me greater number, a positive number if a1 is greater than b1, right. Now, here if you see the points range is minus 2 raised to 31 to 2 raised to 31 minus 1, right. So, it can happen that if my a1 number is minus of 2 raised to 31, then we will do minus of 2 raised to 31 minus and b is 2 raised to 31 or somewhere around that range. So, it will go beyond the range of integer and it may give us a wrong result. So, to take care of that, instead of doing a1 minus b1, we can do a1 is less than b1. If in that case I will return minus 1, else return 1. So, I can take care of that condition by using this kind of comparator operator. Okay. So, it is important that when you use the comparator operator, you either do a and b is less than and then accordingly return minus 1 or 1 instead of doing directly a minus b. That will depend on the constraints. So, if you do not know the constraints, it is better to use this approach. Okay. So, once I have this, once I have the array sorted by the n index, I just need to do this and find out if it is overlapping. If it is overlapping, then I can use the same arrow as previous one. If it is not overlapping, then I need a new arrow. So, I will increment the counter and also assign the previous index to my current index. Okay. So, at the end I can return my count. Okay. So, this is a simple logic. The complexity of this will be O of n because I need to go over each and every point. So, for loop it is O of n. However, in arrays we are doing a sort, right. So, sort normally takes n log n, right. So, it is n log n plus O of n. So, in total the complexity is O of n log n. Okay. So, the time complexity is O of n log n. The space complexity is O of 1 because we are not using any additional space. So let's run this code. The test case passes. Let's submit this, and the code is accepted. So hope you like the solution. Please do check out my other videos and do subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit the bell icon to get new video notifications. Thank you.